Hello everyone, welcome to Soulfish. I am really glad you're here. Welcome. If you're new to the channel, thank you for being here and for listening. And please subscribe and like, comment if what you hear resonates. And for those of you who return, please make sure you subscribe for us. The more subscribers we have, apparently, the more relevant searchers come up and the more the message can be spread. And that would be great, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be great if we, as a collective, we were able to just be 1 point better? So if the world is a 1, what if everyone in the world should just be a 2? What would happen? How would that change everything? And as we are really beginning this new story, it's a brand new event. You're going to have new characters. Things have to manifest and take hold. You have to commit. This is the time right now. It's also a time where you have to stand up. You have to say, this is who and what I am. And by doing so, that is a commitment. Because you are choosing, you are saying, you are crossing a line, because you are defining what's important to you and about you. So, in this story that we're starting, we talked about in our energy readings how in the beginning of October on, it's really about getting keys in your hand. So those things that you really needed, that kind of linchpin that then sets you on your way, that's what's occurring in this time right now. Those types of events are manifesting for so many. And in a part of that, the challenges are being true with everyone. So when you come across somebody, instead of telling them the old story about you, you now have to tell them something that's real, because it's not the same. You're not the same guy. You don't have the same issues. Different things are going on. And so real challenge right now for many to put those pieces together, to be able to say, this is who and what I am, and then to be able to express that freely as they meet others. You have to commit. You have to choose a side. You have to ultimately, in this place, you do have to select. You cannot ride the fence. It can be done in small and big ways. And if you said, well, I'm not participating in these big actions, let's say, they're all just a series of small actions during the day. You live by yourself. You're in the woods. You have very little human contact. You have, you meet animals as you go, right? I'm putting you in the most, ideal laboratory type scenario and saying, hey, your stimulus for being here, on Earth is the best it could possibly be. We've taken out all of the superfluous stuff and you are right there. What does that feel like? Because that's the true you. And that you is already there. So it's not something you're seeking out of you. It's there. But it's that time now to where you have to really identify that and then identify with that. And so that's what you're being called to do right now. Secondly, it's also being true about who and what you are, what's important to you in an honest, genuine way. It's so critical right now. It helps to move you forward. So that brings up challenges of some emotions behind that. So for many, as they've grown and they've now said, I am this, this is really what I want to do. They've gone through this metamorphosis. And sometimes from an outside perspective, it's not been as understood. Because it may not have fit with the regular dogma, right? So here you are, you're in this place, you've done this work, and this other person who you really want to have understand you, right? There are just a few people maybe that you want to really understand you. And it doesn't mean that you get along, and it doesn't mean that you'll ever see eye to eye, but you just want them to understand you, like a parent or a sibling or a whatever, like those kind of relationships where, you know, an old friend who you were this way a long time ago and now you're this way, or something like that. Something where, you know, you just want to leave that person with an understanding of you. Like, it's almost closure, right? It's not so much let's maintain a relationship, let's whatever. It's more really about, you know, this is what I am. I know this is what you are. And we don't necessarily, you know, fit in terms of these perspectives or how we want to approach things. It doesn't mean we're enemies. It doesn't mean we're angry with each other. It doesn't mean there's a problem here. It doesn't mean that, you know, we have years of resentment built up. I'm saying something very straightforward and saying, hey, you know, the challenge in this is that for many, it's been this way. And that's why I'm sharing this with you, because I want to say if this has happened to you, I want you to know that you're not alone. It's part of the process. It's what's occurring. So, you know, you've shared this, and then you're expecting this kind of understanding, and it's not there. And it leaves you this kind of gulf of sadness, right? You're like, wow, you know, I just wanted this left on a good note, and I wanted them to understand really where I was coming from and how I view things, and, you know, what makes me view those things. And I'm not talking about, you know, the odyssey here. In other words, we're not talking about, you know, 6 hours later, the person's still looking at you as you've explained your whole gig. I'm talking about, you know, just in the key points, you know, and then it doesn't come. And then you ask yourself, well, man, that feels pretty crummy. Should I have done that? You know, did I make them feel as crummy as me? Did I, you know, this is kind of the whole thought process, right? Is this whole kind of, this is the space you're in, is this kind of thing, right? And you thought, man, this one should make me feel better, but it doesn't in some ways, because you're still feeling bad about, you know, and maybe it's not even the disappointment of not being understood. Maybe it's the disappointment of maybe making yourself feel how like that was so important, when maybe it was just more important for you to be you in that moment, you know, to express you in that moment, to possibly, you know, create some waves in that moment, not because you intend to, but just because, you know, there is a point where you have to say, this is what I believe in, and so, you know, I can't participate in that or whatever, right? There is a moment when you have to say, hey, you know, I can't do that because it's contrary to the way I want to do things, or the way I believe, or what have you, right? And, you know, you can't hold back to make someone else feel better. So, because if you do that, then it's just swept under, and then that's a seed that will grow. And you know that. You've done that. So we don't want to repeat that. That's a bad model. So what's interesting is you know, again, for many, it's you've had this, you know, desire to kind of close the door or to end things in the right kind of way. And you wanted that understanding, and it's not there. And then you're saying, gosh, you know, but you have to be true to yourself. And if you hold back and try to make them feel better, or not create any sort of contentious issues, or, you know, or to further kind of widen the gap that demonstrates why you are so different than them, you know, in whatever, you know, and you're trying to avoid all of that, right? You're just trying to say, hey, but the reality is sometimes how you are is a teaching. Sometimes you are an example. Sometimes somebody needs to see someone else do it a different way. And even though they can't fully comprehend it, they can't, you know, and the old ways in them continually interfere with this other picture that they would really prefer, but again, foreign. It takes time. It takes time, and I think repetitiveness, it's very hard, when you put yourself out there in this kind of genuine way, and it's almost like a form of rejection, right? Like, they don't quite get you, and it's not like they're being mean about it or, somehow proselytizing to you about some other form of philosophy or something else. Like, none of that. Like, it's just the fact you're just not going to connect in that way. Like, it just can't happen for whatever reason. And there's no animosity or that kind of negativity surrounding it. So if you're coming from that angle, right, and if you can bear with this story for a second. So that occurs, right? And you're feeling this kind of void, like, man, I missed it, like, it's just not possible. It's not possible to get that here, and there's a sadness to that, right? But then and that's where we sit, like, the individual, us, the reason we're having this conversation, right, is we feel this way. And then we, but with some perspective, and in practicing your practice, you have to be strong, you have to feel okay, even when you don't feel okay. In other words, your beingness. You have to do good even when everything and everyone around you isn't doing good. That's the objective. But you want to do it from an organic, natural place, like an instinctual place. Like, this happens and you automatically, behave and do those things. Not because some dogma or whatever tells you if you don't, you're going to hell and you're going to die. It's more about that kind of growth, right? And the more people I work with, the more people who I share with, the more I'm shown, right? From spirit, from also experience, right? You start to see this theme, and you realize that beyond compassion is the answer, that you have to share, and you just have to share willingly. And sometimes you are rejected, and sometimes, or it feels that way, right? Or sometimes somebody could be making fun of that, or, oh, that's this, haha, But you evolve. And when you evolve, that means your ideas have to change, and that means that you're changing, and as you change, everything changes around you. It's an energetic transmission. And the objective is not, for some reward down the road. The objective is that as you improve yourself right now, your life improves right now. It's true. It's almost immediate. And so, in this time when you are putting together the beginning of this story, all of the components are coming together, manifesting for you right now. And as you collect all of these things and put them in your basket for this next journey, be okay that your basket doesn't look like everyone else. Be okay that you're going places that they're not going. Be okay that they may not understand what you're really trying to do, no matter how many times and ways you try to explain it. But keep explaining it, and keep trying to explain it, and live it, more importantly than anything else. And don't let what someone else thinks or believes it to be to represent how it is for you. You are you. There is no one else that knows you better. You have to believe in you. And this is a time where you have to be true. True to yourself. And when you're true to yourself, you shine. And when you shine, you're a light for everyone else. Much love.